Welcome to Evergreen Family Medicine. Today we are with providers Christina Cranley and Delanie Hanson, and we are going to talk about some homegrown talent that is here at Evergreen Family Medicine. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right, so we have Sutherland and Roseburg High School graduates who now are providers at Evergreen. So take us through your experience and how you wound up here. Christina, let's start with you.
Okay.
Working at Evergreen, going to school, and coming back again.
Yeah, so as you said, I'm originally from Sutherland, went to high school there. I've always been interested in the medical field, and I went to Oregon State, was looking to gain medical experience, and just came back home and decided to get a job as a medical assistant at Evergreen. And let's just say, I loved it. Everybody was incredibly nice, and I felt like I was well supported. I learned a lot. I also had an opportunity to scribe, and that really kind of led me down the field of pursuing a career as a PA. So I then attended George Fox University as a part of their inaugural class of PAs. I graduated this last December, and I had a rotation at Evergreen throughout my clinical experience because, well, I loved it so much, and I always wanted to come back home and provide care here. So I decided to come back to work here as a PA. And I will actually be working at the Sutherland Clinic soon, so I'm very excited about that because that is my hometown.
That's great. And this is a great story for Evergreen to tell because everybody wants to know what happens to our youth. Can we bring them back? Can we have you here and be homegrown and then just stay in the place that you've loved your whole life? So this is why this is so exciting for all of us. So Delanie, what is your story similar to what Christina talked about?
I have a very similar story, although somewhat different. So I started at Evergreen as a medical assistant in the urgent care, actually. And I did not start it because I had this passion for medicine. I really just needed a job, started working as a medical assistant. I fell in love with it. I fell in love with medicine itself. I was going to University of Oregon at the time, graduated with my undergrad in psychology, decided to pursue PA school at UC Davis. I graduated in September, and when the thought of coming back to Evergreen came to me, it wasn't even a question. I've been treated so well here.
So you're both PAs, but what area of specialty do you work in?
Yeah, so I work in family practice. I fell in love with this area as a medical assistant, and coming from school, there's so many things you learn in medicine, so I wanted to make sure that I kept everything really fresh and had a good understanding of medicine as a whole.
Delanie?
So I started out in family medicine in about December, and then I actually signed on with the urgent care as well, so I do both now, which is kind of nice because sometimes I see my patients in the urgent care, and it's kind of nice to keep that relationship going.
So what are your impressions? What's it like now to work in a place that you've spent so much time in?
Yeah, it's pretty great. I mean, I worked originally in family practice, so there's a lot of familiar faces, a lot of providers that were here when I was here. And so there's a ton of support. I feel like I can really pretty much approach anybody with a question. And I also see a lot of familiar faces in medical assistants and receptionists. And so it's really great to feel like a community and a family.
How about you, Delanie?
Yeah, I would agree. I think especially as a new grad, it's very important to go somewhere where you feel supported. And we definitely do feel that here at Evergreen. It does help that we kind of grew up with these people. But now coming back, being providers, I do feel well supported by everybody around me.
Great. Do you have any advice for students maybe in Roseburg or Sutherland or anywhere else in Douglas County that might be thinking about a medical career, encouraging them to get started, give it a try? What would you say?
Yeah, no, definitely. Medical assisting is incredible as well as scribing, and it really allows you to kind of see different aspects of the medical field. I specifically worked in family practice, so I got to see a lot of pretty much everything with some acute stuff in between as well. So I think it's just a very well-rounded experience, and if you were to come do medical assisting, you'll learn more hands-on versus scribing. You'll learn kind of the medical decision-making process, which is incredibly helpful in graduate school, medical school in general. So,
What about you, Delanie?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I think that, starting a career in medicine is really difficult and you're not sure if you'll even like it unless you start. So medical assistant, it's kind of a nice, like testing the waters to see if it's something you want to do, if you want to do medicine. And then from there, any like higher education will be extremely tough, but I think it's worth it. Yeah.
Great. All right. Christina Cranley and Delanie Hanson, PAs here at Evergreen Family Medicine. You can find out more about the staff and the things that are happening at Evergreen at evergreenfamilymedicine.com. And you can follow on our social media channels on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.